Have you noticed that food tastes better when someone else makes it? Or why strict rules make us rebellious? Curious about why we sometimes feel the urge to squeeze cute animals? For decades, researchers have been delving into the reasons behind our behaviors and traits, and this pursuit will carry on into the future. So get ready for an exciting journey through the mind. Number 1. Having a plan B can make plan A less likely to succeed. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania found that volunteers who considered a backup plan performed worse on tasks than those who didn't. Additionally, knowing they had other options lowered their motivation. This phenomenon is linked to expectancy theory, which suggests that your motivation is influenced by your expectation of success. Essentially, having a backup plan implies you don't expect to succeed initially. While it's wise to think ahead, getting too focused on backup plans might unintentionally undermine your efforts. Number 2. Catching a yawn could help us bond. You're at your desk, ready to start the day, when your coworker lets out a big yawn. Suddenly, you're yawning too, even though you're not tired. This is a response yawn. Various theories suggest that yawns are contagious because they demonstrate empathy. This explains why young children who haven't fully developed empathy and individuals on the autism spectrum who might experience empathy differently are less likely to yawn in response. Contagious yawning might help strengthen social bonds by synchronizing group behavior and indicating shared vigilance or tiredness. Number 3. We care more about a single person than about massive tragedies. In a study by the University of Pennsylvania, one group of participants was shown an image of a starving girl. Another group was given a statistic about millions suffering from hunger. And a third group received both pieces of information. Those who saw the statistic donated the least, followed by those who saw both the girl and the statistic. The group that saw only the girl donated the most. This phenomenon, known as the identifiable victim effect, suggests that people are more likely to help when they can identify with a single individual, rather than a faceless mass. When a problem feels too vast, we can feel powerless, making smaller, more personal actions seem more achievable and impactful. Number 4. Beginnings and ends are easier to remember than middles. Have you ever forgotten your grocery list and tried to recall it from memory? You likely remember the first and last items better than those in the middle. This is known as the serial position effect, confirmed by research published in the Frontiers of Human Neuroscience. Our brains are naturally inclined to remember items at the beginning and the end of a sequence more clearly than those in the middle. This can be seen in various contexts, such as recalling the beginning and end of a speech or a meeting, but struggling with the details in between. Understanding this can help you better structure information to improve retention and recall. Number 5. It takes 5 positive things to outweigh a single negative thing. You might have heard the advice to start and end your day by reflecting on things you're grateful for. This practice helps counteract our negativity bias, a psychological tendency to focus more on negative experiences than positive ones. Research suggests that it takes about 5 positive events to outweigh the impact of one negative event. This is why maintaining a gratitude journal or regularly reflecting on positive experiences can significantly enhance your overall well-being. By consciously balancing negative thoughts with positive ones, you can foster a more optimistic outlook and resilience in the face of adversity. Number 6. Food tastes better when someone else makes it. Have you ever noticed that meals prepared by someone else often taste better than when you cook for yourself? Researchers attribute this to the fact that when you're involved in preparing a meal, the anticipation and prolonged exposure to the food can dull your excitement, leading to a diminished sensory experience. When someone else prepares the food, you haven't spent time with it, so your sensory response is heightened, making the meal more enjoyable. This phenomenon highlights the importance of novelty and anticipation in enhancing our sensory experiences. Number 7. We'd rather know that something bad is coming than not know what to expect. Have you ever felt a knot in your stomach when someone says, "We need to talk"? Your mind races with possible scenarios, often negative. Whether it's a partner or a boss, you might prefer immediate bad news over prolonged uncertainty. Researchers found that people prefer knowing something bad is going to happen over the stress of not knowing. This is because our brains strive to predict outcomes, and uncertainty triggers a state of heightened anxiety as we anticipate various possible scenarios. Knowing what to expect allows us to prepare mentally and emotionally, reducing stress and anxiety. Number 8. When one rule seems too strict, we want to break more. The psychological phenomenon known as reactance occurs when people feel their freedoms are being restricted, leading them to rebel against the rules. This is often seen in teenagers. For instance, when grounded, they might not only sneak out, but also engage in other risky behaviors as a form of reactance. Reactance is a motivational reaction to rules, regulations, or attempts to control behavior, prompting individuals to assert their freedom by doing the opposite of what is being demanded. Understanding this can help in setting more effective and reasonable boundaries that encourage cooperation rather than rebellion. Number 9. There's a reason we want to squeeze cute things. When you see a cute puppy or baby, do you ever feel an overwhelming urge to squeeze or cuddle them? This reaction is known as cute aggression. According to research published in the Frontiers in Behavioral Neuroscience, cute aggression helps balance the intense positive emotions elicited by adorable creatures, preventing us from becoming too overwhelmed. This phenomenon suggests that our brains regulate strong positive emotions by introducing a touch of aggression to maintain emotional equilibrium. It's a natural response that ensures we don't inadvertently harm the very things we find so endearing. Number 10. We unintentionally believe what we want to believe. Confirmation bias is the tendency to interpret information in a way that confirms our existing beliefs. This explains why people with certain political views prefer specific news outlets that align with their perspectives. Confirmation bias leads us to seek out information that agrees with our beliefs and dismiss information that contradicts them. This cognitive bias can make it challenging to change deeply held beliefs, even in the face of contradictory evidence. Recognizing this bias can help us become more open-minded and critical in evaluating new information. Number 11. You're programmed to most love the music you listened to in high school. Studies show that we form strong emotional connections to the music we loved between ages 12 and 22, a period when our brains are particularly receptive to musical influences. Good music releases dopamine and other feel-good chemicals, creating lasting memories. This is why songs from our teenage years often evoke strong emotions and nostalgia. These formative years are marked by significant emotional and social experiences, making the music from that time especially memorable and meaningful. Number 12. Memories are more like pieced-together pictures than accurate snapshots. False memories are recollections that aren't entirely true, either in whole or in part. For example, you might believe you started the dishwasher before leaving for work when you actually didn't. Our brains sometimes fill in gaps with inaccurate details, leading us to remember events differently than they occurred. This process involves reconstructive memory, where the brain pieces together fragments of past experiences to create a coherent narrative, which may not always be accurate. Understanding this can help us appreciate the fallibility of our memories and the importance of verifying facts. Number 13. We look for human faces, even in inanimate objects. Pareidolia is the tendency to perceive specific, often meaningful images like faces in random or ambiguous patterns. A common example is seeing a face in the moon. Scientists believe this tendency is due to the importance of recognizing faces in social interactions. As social beings, identifying faces is so crucial that we'd rather see one where it doesn't exist than miss a real one. This phenomenon reflects our brain's ability to find familiar patterns in our environment, enhancing our social connections and interactions. Number 14. People rise to our high expectations and don't rise if we have low ones. The Pygmalion effect is when high expectations lead to improved performance. In a famous 1960 study, teachers were told that certain students had high potential based on an IQ test. Those students became high achievers, partly due to their teachers' heightened expectations. This effect demonstrates the power of expectations in shaping behavior and performance. When we expect more from others, we often unconsciously communicate those expectations through our behavior, encouraging them to rise to the occasion. Conversely, low expectations can lead to poorer performance, highlighting the importance of positive reinforcement. Number 15. Our brain doesn't think long-term deadlines are so important. Have you ever delayed starting a big project with a distant deadline, only to find yourself rushing to complete it as the deadline approaches? Our brains process short-term deadlines better than long-term ones. Short-term tasks are more appealing because they offer instant gratification and are quicker and easier to complete. This tendency can lead to procrastination on long-term projects, as we prioritize immediate tasks over those with distant deadlines. Understanding this can help us manage our time more effectively by breaking long-term projects into smaller, more manageable tasks with closer deadlines. These intriguing psychological facts reveal just how complex and fascinating our minds truly are. Did any of these insights resonate with your own experiences or change the way you see the world? We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you found this content enlightening, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more captivating insights into the human mind. Thanks for joining us on this journey.